Okay, I just want to, give some people an idea where Philadelphia is and show on a map some of the areas that we invest. I know when I go to other countries, sometimes, like in Asia, where's Philadelphia? They only know Rocky running up the art museum steps. That's not everybody, of course, but it's always funny. Everyone knows Rocky. So in general, the reason we have these maps in the conference room is because we think this is important to show. This is a map of the Northeast, basically the tri-state area, which is Pennsylvania, South New Jersey, and Delaware. This is Maryland over here, so that's very close too. So some of the reasons why people like to live in Philadelphia, and I know because I was born and raised here, is this is Philadelphia. So I'll start going this way. From Philadelphia, you can drive 1 hour to Atlantic City if you're a big gambler or like nightlife. Also, most Philadelphians that have any kind of money will have shore houses, beach houses, for people who don't know, we call them the shore, all along southern New Jersey. So, in the summertime, they may work all week and then drive down to their beach house. It's a very common thing here in Philadelphia. A lot of Philadelphians live in, South New Jersey, right in the suburbs. Some other cool stuff is from Philadelphia to Manhattan, there's a train that takes 1 hour and 20 minutes. To get there, you can drive to the tunnel in 1 hour and 20 minutes, but the tunnel, you could get stuck in the tunnel, Holland Tunnel, whatever tunnel, for 1 hour and a half anyway. But New York is very close. As a matter of fact, in the neighborhood I live in, Philadelphia, about 20% of the people moving into my neighborhood are from New York. Some have just moved down here because the cost of living is cheaper, and some are actually commuting. Another thing is, from 1 hour and a half this way are the Pocono Mountains. So in the wintertime, if you like to ski, and I'm not saying that this is Vail or Japan with great, super great mountains, but we have mountains that you can go and ski, 1 hour and a half away. If you just want to get away for a little bit, you can always go down to Baltimore. It's about 1 hour and a half drive, and Washington, D.C. is another 3-hour drive. So basically, Philadelphia is in the middle of all the action. So I wanted to explain, where it was and what's around it in relation to it. And on the next video, I'll explain what parts of Philadelphia we invest. Okay, so basically I'm going to explain some areas of Philadelphia that we invest and some areas that we don't. I'm just going to give you a general idea. This is Philadelphia, all down here, and if you come to Philadelphia, a lot of times people are surprised about how large the land area is. Again, it's the 5th most populous city in the United States. Where my office is right about here. This is where my office is. We're a little bit north of Center City, or some people, in Philadelphia we call it Center City. I know a lot of foreigners call it the city center, but in general, the most money in the city is in the Center City, in Rittenhouse Square. Over here you have, Independence Hall, where the nation was founded, that kind of stuff. But in general, all of the stuff that's south of Center City in South Philadelphia is too much money for our investors to buy and have the kind of cash flow and yields that they want. A lot of people down in these neighborhoods will flip houses, buy a house, fix it up, and sell it on to a homeowner. The city has expanded basically to neighborhoods just keep going up and getting nicer outside here. We do a lot of our investing west of the Schuylkill River in West Philadelphia. Now, West Philadelphia starts with what's called University City. And University City has University of Pennsylvania, Drexel University where I went, University of Pharmaceutical Sciences, so there's about 60,000 students, maybe 70,000 students right here, and it goes all the way up to 49th Street. So it's a big part of West Philadelphia. So a lot of times people like to invest around the universities. You can't invest in the universities, well you can, but it's like buying in Manhattan. It's very, very expensive. So we buy mostly a lot of stuff in West Philadelphia, and then there's this little section right here called Southwest Philadelphia. It's about as suburban as it gets for Philadelphia. We like to invest there. So a lot of our stuff is over here. Some areas that we avoid are an area just north of my office, which is called the Badlands. Another area is Kensington, and I know that's a lot of you Brits are going to not like that. It's the nicest part of London, but The worst part of Philadelphia, I would say in general, is Kensington. However, Northern Liberties, which is where I live, it's gotten very expensive and people have gone to Fishtown, and this is a nice, young, hip place to live, and people are starting to develop on the east side of Kensington. So, you never know, in a couple of years, Kensington might be good, but I doubt that. So, we also buy in an area up here called Frankfurt and a little bit north of Harbison Ave, but once you get a little bit north than that, it's too expensive. One of our favorite C neighborhoods is over here on 22nd and Lehigh, or 22nd and Allegheny. So over here we'll buy, but there's some areas to be avoided between Temple University, which is the largest university, and Temple University Hospital, which is in a different geographic location. We also like to buy up here in Hunting Park. There's a lot of good Latino tenants in that area, and some areas a little bit above Roosevelt Boulevard. But most of the stuff up here we don't do. And over here is an area of Philadelphia called Manayunk. Very expensive, very cool place. Nice to hang out, but we don't buy there too. So in general, that's where we buy, that's where we don't buy, and a quickie on Philadelphia.